So I just shot a video about how 2026 is going to be the most important summer of our lives. And I'm going to be talking about how I'm going to be taking advantage of it when it comes to AI. Right now, a lot of people are sleeping on AI. They don't know about AI. They're confused about AI. They fear about AI. They don't know what to do. They're disappointed. They're distracted. They're entertained. This is a brainstorming session. So essentially brainstorming, we have to work backwards. We have to understand what is the problem in my life that I need to be taking advantage of this summer. So what are some areas of life that I need to be looking at? Where are the problems in my life right now? Okay, so I just became a entrepreneur when it comes to vibe coding. So I was a real estate agent. I was a broker owner for 17 years, and I have a problem right now of money. What else do I have a problem with? I have a problem with actually health. I also have a problem with making sure that I'm in shape. I have a lot of energy. I also have a sort of a decent plan about how to actually take advantage of the summer. But this whole brainstorming session is looking at things objectively. And I'm going to go this every single time objectively, where you say, I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And you also have to look at it not only with questions in mind, but you have to look at it where you say, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to look at it not from my subjective point of view, but from my objective point of view. And right now, I know that my problem is money, energy, health, getting into shape, and goals. Goals is another one. What do I mean by goals? I used to do triathlons a lot. I did in 2019, I think 4 or 5. I did another one in 2022. I did another one, I think in 2021. It was sporadic after 2019, but 2019 was the year that I really broke out. I stopped drinking, which is the first one. So I am now on day 2 of sobriety. I didn't have the greatest relationship with it. I'm going to bring that out in another video about what it's like to actually be sober after not being sober. So sobriety is the most important thing. Why? Everything breaks down from one bad area or habit of your life. Is it because you drink too much? Because you gossip? Because you're lazy? You don't go to the gym? You overeat? You go to bed too late? You don't wake up? You're constantly being distracted and entertained. What is that major piece in your life that if you broke away from it, everything else would go and dissipate into an area of peace? For me, that's going sober. Because when I go sober, my health increases. It gets better. My sleep gets better. So that means I have more energy. I have goals of actually doing a triathlon in New York 70.3, which is in 3 months. I don't know if I'm going to get there. That's an honest appraisal. I have no idea. In 3 months, I can go from swim, bike, and run in a half. 70.3 means that it's a half Ironman, which it's 70 miles still. Okay. This isn't, this isn't a floating a boat down a river kind of situation, but everything cascaded from here. Health is the most important thing. You really have only a couple of areas. You have health, and obviously Ty Lopez talked about this a bunch of times. Health, wealth, love, which is relationships, and then happiness. I don't like the word happiness. I like the word content. I like the word content. So we'll take that out and we'll say content. Why? Because content means that you have an area, you have a goal you are reaching and striving for. Happiness is a fleeting feeling. Love is definitely there. Money is definitely there. And health is definitely there. I personally, if I put this on a flywheel and I did it, I would say health is as big as this. I would say money is about this. Love is about this. And then contentness is very big, because if you're not happy, everything flows into each other. That's the biggest thing, is what area of your life in the summer of 2026 do you need to change? Honestly, you know what it is. You have to be objective and you have to ask questions and you have to understand and you have to diagnose the problem. The problem isn't money right now. It is money, but it cascades from my health. And it also cascades from my planning and my goals. I don't have any goals. But now that I put a goal on my list, I have in 3 months, I have a New York 70.3 Ironman. That's a goal. And then if I am sober, that is going to improve my health, which means that I'm going to actually exercise and it's going to make me sleep better. I already track my sleep with the Oura Ring. I have my Garmin watch. So everything literally is flowing down from sober. Okay, cool. So now that you get sober, and it's not an easy task, and I'll talk about my actual horrible relationship with alcohol at another time. But if everything comes down from being sober, what is an area where I'm now, say, 10 days sober, 30 days. Now I'm a month sober. And obviously this is into the future, say 45 days sober. Okay, cool. Now that you're sober, Charles, and you're brainstorming the future of next week, next month, 2 months from now, what do you need to change? You have to put out Instagram content. And I understand this is very specific to me, but in this world, you must be marketing. You must be marketing. My two areas is YouTube and Instagram. I haven't been good on this. I have been decent on this, but you still need to be marketing. Why? Because your product needs to be known by people. What is sales for me? Sales is transitioning someone who just saw my product and making them pay for the product. For me, my actual marketing is that, but my sales is actually demoing the product live. It's also giving away free content like I'm doing right now. So if I know that everything cascades down from being sober, my health, which I'm going to put out YouTube content, I know my value right now is to be inspirational. And that could be in many ways. That could be through being positive. And by the way, I'm going to make mistakes when it comes to spelling. Just bear with me. That's positive. That is motivational. That is educational. That could be through entertainment. And you essentially need to go between all of these buckets, not equally, but I am pretty entertaining, but I love to educate people. I love to motivate people, and I'm practically mostly always positive. Rarely are you going to catch me in a bad mood. So when I am talking about the summer of 2026, it's June 16th right now. I would say this ends October 1st. There is a rush of money that is going into the AI space. I don't care if you're in the AI space or whatever, but I do know there's so many people who are being distracted by politics, negativity, sports, gambling, social media, YouTube, trips. It doesn't matter. The whole world right now is just staring at their cell phone. So you have to be marketing yourself in some fashion. It could be writing blogs, it could be video, it could be audio, it could be writing educational posts on X or making TikTok videos. Those two places are off limits for me. That's what I mean is I understand that some people love it. There's this guy that I follow right now. He's a good big vibe coder. He loves X. He's a big X guy. I'm not an X guy. He gets followers, he gets business from there and things like that. That's not me. I'm objectively diagnosing the problem during this brainstorming session, knowing that this is the most important part of my summer. Sober is great. It's great. Don't get me wrong on being sober, but you need a game plan. You need that place where it says, okay, here is day one. You feel, all right, okay, now you're up to day 10. Where are we going? You got to get 1% better every single day. What does that mean? 1% every single day is questioning everything you're doing right now. Because the old paradigms, all of them are breaking. The old paradigms, they're breaking. And there are going to be new paradigms that show up that has a lot of money. They have areas in which we don't even know about. Robotic sports, humans versus robotics in sports. I don't know, but someone's thinking about that league. Somebody's creating that league. Somebody is, and I'm against gambling, but they're gambling in that league. The thing is, when you are shedding a paradigm, you also have to understand one very big area, and that is your identity. Your identity is who you are at your core. It could be your education. It could be where you went to school. It could be what company you work for. It could be the career, the occupational. It's what people know you as. Your personal reality becomes your personal personality. So whatever your personal reality is, it becomes your personal personality. And essentially, if your identity, probably spelling that wrong, identity, we'll go with it. If your identity is negative, it is not learning. If you're not getting 1% better, you're actually going the opposite direction. You're in entertainment. You're in distraction. You're in just the forums, the social medias. If you are consuming, very important, right? I'm saying right now, if you are consuming over creating, you are not going to be doing well in after this year. I've said it in the other video is that we're going from this to this. There's going to be a lot of breakups of companies where you have 2 to 3 companies that are going to say 5 to 10, if not 10 to 15 companies. In other words, all of it is going to be decentralized, democratized. Peter Diamandis has talked about this in his book, Bold, where all of the big companies will be essentially flattened out. Not totally flattened out, obviously. You're still going to have the big dogs in the middle, but then you're going to have a lot of mid-tiers. And you're going to have a lot of solopreneurs that are going to be making it, educating people, inspiring people, entertaining people, being positive. So this summer, I call upon you to do a whiteboard session, to do a brainstorming session. And this is where you start. What's my biggest problem? What's my biggest problem right now? Because your biggest problem is your biggest solution. Why? Because when I can think better, today was a perfect example. I haven't been doing good vibe coding sessions. YouTube hasn't been rewarding me. Okay. They haven't given me views, new people, new subscribers, new viewers. I haven't been showing up. That's my fault because I was not sober, because I wasn't taking care of my health, because I wasn't energetic. My sleep was down. I had no goals. There's no goals on my calendar. And I don't want to use the phrase North Star, but there was no North Star. There was no BHAG. There's no big, hairy, audacious goal that I was going after. And because of that, I continued to drink. Okay, let's knock that out. You're now sober. You're now 45 days in. You see that you had a problem. Now you're looking for the solution. What happens? Ideas start happening. What also starts happening? You start creating instead of consuming. You start being positive. You're eating better, so you have more energy. Your relationships get better. They improve. All of this starts to improve. Your health, relationships with friends, your money improves, your content improves. People start following you. People start finding out about you. Who is this guy? Who is this guy? Never heard of him in my life. Charles Botenston, he's got this Hey Charles community, and he comes on, he brainstorms how he's going to take advantage of 2026. And he talked about another video, how 2026 is going to be one of the most pivotal summers, if not the most pivotal year for all the early adopters to get involved. So we're right here and we're not here. That if this is 2030, that we are way ahead of the curve and we're not on the ones coming down. We're on the ones going up. We are the ones that are creating content, that we are not the ones that are consuming content. You have to change the habits. You have to get a new identity. The old paradigm, you need a new paradigm. What is it? What is that one area that needs to change? It's vitally important this happens now, okay? It could be food. It could be relationships. It could be negativity. It could be books. It could be just consuming whatever's in your face, whether it's on social media, whether it's on dating, whether it's on alcohol, whether it's on food, whether it's just entertainment from reality shows. You're watching a dating show and you're obsessed with it, and that's all. You're a consumer. We need to get out of the consuming into the creating mindset. It is a mindset. And right now, I finally am breaking free of the chains so I can live the life that summer 2026 is going to provide, which for me is going to be these four. I'm looking, I'll be 100% transparent with mine. We'll go to content. I do want to participate in the New York 70.3 Ironman. I do want to have goals and people starting their own businesses because of the way that I've entertained, motivated, educated, and was positive. I do want to find love. I do want to find a wife. I need to have enough money to make that happen. I do want to be healthy again where I'm sleeping better. Those are my goals. My summer 2026 needs to be way better than the 6 summers way before this. 2020 to 2025, I had horrible summers, okay? This needs to be the year that we change. This is not the year to say doom and gloom AI. This is the year where we say, so you're telling me I can create whatever I want. That one crazy idea that maybe 1,000 people will pay me $10 a month or $5 a month, and now I'm free from my 9-to-5 job. Put me on board with that. Where's that guy? Where's that entrepreneur? Where's that solopreneur? Where's that gal that's putting out the content that's actually making me not get dumb and fearful and scared? Because those people are growing. They're amassing. It's an avalanche. It's just a tornado, and it's just bringing in more, and it's turning into now a hurricane, and the hurricane's now over 15 states, and now just instead of just 2 states. And now there's more people are coming on board of saying, we need to crush this. Yeah, I understand data centers a bit. I'm talking about, oh, wow, I can own my own software on my own computer, and I don't need to pay all of these other companies. And by the way, while I'm at it, I can get healthy. I can improve my relationships. I can improve being content, not content, content. Yes, of course, you can start putting out content, which is necessary. So I recommend there's 3 areas that you look at. You have to you have to understand the problem objectively, and you have to say, I don't know, and ask a bunch of questions, come up with the goals and your identity. But this is the 3 areas that I would focus on. Out of these 4, The three areas, number one priority has to be your health. It has to be your health because everything flows from your health. How excited you are, how the juice is flowing, and just the endorphins of exercise and feeling good about yourself, and just the energy and the sleep and the relationships and the money, just everything flows from health. Everything flows from health. If you don't have your health in order, this is priority number one. If you do have your priority in order, you got to go with what actually makes you happy. You got to go with content because from there, your love and your money will come. Your love and money, four is a distant money. I understand money to a lot of people, including myself, is very important. But this is, I personally believe, the order in which you need to content. What is content? Content means most days I leave the office more excited than depressed. I leave a meeting or I leave the job or I leave my house going to work that I'm more excited more days than less days. The problem is that people put it at 100%. Nothing's perfect. You're going to have horrible days. You're going to have the worst days. You're going to be, meetings are going to go bad. Meetings are going to be canceled. Deals and bids will go wrong. Houses won't sell that you put on the market. You need to have a idea of what truly deep down is most important for you. For me, it's controlling the environment, and it's not money. It's not money. I met someone who's a good friend of mine. She went for the money. She is arguably the most unhappy I've seen her maybe in my whole life. She was joyful and amazing and happy and unbelievable. I love, maybe there's other things. Maybe there's other things. I have no idea. But when I met her, I said, I don't even recognize it. I didn't say this, but in my head, I was like, I don't even recognize the person I see in front of me. She's got makes hundreds of thousands of dollars. Yo, it's great. I have everything in the world. But is she content? Is she content? Does she ever health? Start with that. You know, what's the relationships in her life? She's got the money. It kind of flipped for her, flipped. So I implore you this summer of 2026, you brainstorm like this. And you maybe even watch my other, which was a whiteboard about why summer 2026 is the most important year, the most important season of this year, because a lot's coming down the line and a lot of businesses are going to be in and out of business in the coming 6 to 12 to 18 to 24 months. You need to be an early adopter. You have to be creating. You have to be creating. You can't be consuming. You can't be distracted. You can't be losing 1% every single day. You got to be day one, getting 1% better every single day. If you like this content, then subscribe to the videos. We're going to be doing a lot of whiteboards, a lot of brainstorming, a lot of just pivots and talking about the world, how it's changing, how you can take advantage of this. And obviously go down below. There's a community. You can join like-minded people that are just talking about this. How does this make sense to me? I understand all of these headlines is completely unrelated. Join the community. I'll make it relatable. I'll make sense of all the headlines. Have a great day, and I will talk to you on the next whiteboard or brainstorm.